Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Awesome. I can see the chat right here. The messages are coming in, which means that you can hear me well. There we go. I can see a lot of people right here appearing in the chat. I've been patiently waiting. Let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of people, a lot of countries, a lot of friends joining up to see this webinar. This is phenomenal. We have people from Argentina. We have people from Mars, apparently. Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, also California. I think I saw Washington, Philippines, Bolivia, America. That's it. A lot of people are right here. Florida, Kenya. There we go. A lot of people. This is great. We have even the folks from the UK joining, and it's so nice to see all of you here appear. And some people are asking whether this is going to be recorded. Yes, it will. You will be able to watch it later on, but of course, it's so much better to be here live in case you can. There we go. So thank you so much for sharing all the countries that you're from, and it's gonna be so nice to to get started with this. So with that said, today we're gonna be focusing on something quite exciting, which is landing that dream developer job. So I don't want to take a lot of your time, and I want to get just started with it. So with that said, let's dive into the most important part in helping you secure your job search. I'm going to turn on the recording and we can get started. We're going to go over the winning formula to master the job search. And we're not going to speak about the usual stuff that you hear on every single video. We're going to do a deep dive into what a proper job search should look like. So, hi there. In case you don't know me, I'm Adrian, the founder and CEO of JavaScript Mastery. I've taught millions of developers with project-based courses on YouTube, and I personally mentored developers from being stuck to getting their dream jobs. I've been recognized as a GitHub star. The GitHub Stars program features only the 100 most influential developers in the world. So, before we get started, just one quick note. This webinar is not for beginners. We will focus on the job search, which comes after building up a solid skill set. So, who is this webinar for? Well, if you'd like to get hired as a developer, get promoted, or increase your salary, in that case, this webinar is for you. And if you'd like to never apply to hundreds of jobs and not hear back, feel lost and not know what to do next in your job search, stay stuck in the same position, or feel weird when trying to network, this webinar is for you. You will find out why you shouldn't apply to as many companies as you can and how to specify your dream job. You'll learn how to sidestep the competition and find the best jobs which aren't advertised at all. You will learn how to network organically and build invaluable relationships without being sleazy. And you will also learn why almost all resumes are horrible and how to perfect your resume and CV. Now, how committed are you to landing that dream job? Type 1 or 2 in the chat. Number 1, I am 100% committed to becoming a successful developer. And number 2, I'd like to become a better developer, but it's not really a priority for me at this time. Great, I can see some numbers coming in. Now, grab a pen and paper and start taking notes. You can also do it on Notion or any app. This webinar will be long, but we're going to go over a lot of stuff. Let's start with some principles. Let's dive into the overview. First, we're going to have 5 principles of a successful job search. Number 1, assume responsibility. Take control of every single part of job search and don't leave your fate up to others. Then, use a system. Don't try a little bit of everything. Don't use random tactics. Use a systematic process, which I'll show you. Third, focus on the front end. Take the time to work on the right things from the start, even if they don't deliver immediate results. Number 4, think about what others want. Get inside of your future's boss's head and give them what they want. Do not make them have to think about what you can offer them, as they're too busy for that. Offer them the solution. And display competence. Come off as confident and friendly, even if you have to put a lot of practice to do so. These sound simple, but most people don't do it. You can't succeed if you don't always do the basics. Next, let's talk about RAND. RAND, isn't that a function? It's actually just an acronym for Random Acts of Non-Productive Demeanor. See, in your job search, you often get impulses to do things that most candidates do. They might get you closer to a job, but not your dream job. For example, you might decide to randomly send out 10 resumes today, or make random changes to your LinkedIn, GitHub, or resume. By following along this webinar, you are agreeing to follow a proven process. So follow our advice, even though it sometimes seems less productive than randomly applying to positions. Let's briefly talk about false beliefs. The best tactics are useless if you have a false view of yourself and the world around you. You sabotage yourself by not acting. An example of a false belief is, they'll never hire me, I don't have enough experience. Some of the obstacles on your path may be imaginary, while others may be real. But each one has a solution. It's just one more error to fix. So, to destroy your false beliefs, you can use the following technique. 10 times smarter. First, assume that a solution exists. Second, imagine you are 10 times smarter. Third, since you are 10 times smarter, you know the solution. Tell yourself how you would solve the problem. And then, if you do that, you probably already know what to do, but you need to give yourself, who has false belief, the advice to solve the problem. Then, solve the problem by implementing the necessary steps. Here are some common beliefs that could be limiting you. First, I don't have a computer science degree. I've heard this so often. But if you're 10 times smarter, then you're going to say, I am aware that there is no single path that leads to my desired job. The economy is screwed right now. Well, if you're 10 times smarter, you're going to say, I will not concern myself with things that I cannot control. Instead, I will focus on becoming an irresistible hire. And I don't know people in the industry. Well, I would identify the correct people through my network or even reach out to them. As you can see, obstacles or false beliefs become solutions when you think smarter. So, what are the takeaways? We're going to go through 5 principles. Assume responsibility, use a system, focus on the front end, think about what others want, and display competence. It's important to remember that even the best techniques will not help if false beliefs prevent you from taking action. So, let's dive into our first action step. Take some time to think and list 5 false beliefs that are preventing you from obtaining what you desire, even if you believe them to be true. Here are a couple of examples. I'm fortunate to have a job at all, let alone seek a new one. The salaries for the jobs I want are too low. And I'm not qualified enough. Using the 10x smarter method, write down what your genius self would do to overcome these obstacles. This is going to take you about 10 minutes. So please do it. Write down your false beliefs and write 10x smarter answers to those false beliefs. You don't have to do these action steps right now, but do it after the webinar. So this is a time to put down a note in your editor or on your paper, write 5 false beliefs, and write 10x smarter answers. First action step, please write it down. You need to take action. Now, from the overview, we can dive into our first step, which is specifying your dream job and why you shouldn't apply to as many companies as you can. And why you shouldn't apply to as many companies as you can. In this step, we'll focus on specifying your dream job. You probably have an idea of what it looks like, but soon you'll unlock the power that comes with specificity. Here are the barriers to finding your dream job. First, it can be confusing as we have conflicting desires such as money, passion, and lifestyle, such as worries such as failure, uncertainty, and change. Then, maybe there is no sense of urgency, which leads to procrastination, and our dream job remains a vague idea that we put off for someday. And most career advice out there sucks. That's the harsh truth. There are only 2 things that matter. There are many factors that we believe are important for finding our dream job. For example, you might want to only work a few hours per day. However, once you find your dream job, the number of hours you work will become irrelevant since it will become more engaging than not working and will not feel like work most of the time. Ultimately, there are only 2 things that matter. Your dream job is equal to your dream role plus your dream employer. Let's take a look at some examples of specific dream jobs which follow this idea. I'm looking for a position as a full stack developer at a venture-funded startup working remotely. I'm interested in becoming a front-end developer at a social networking company in San Francisco. I'd like to become a back-end developer at a nonprofit in New York. That is extraordinarily specific. Being specific is crucial when it comes to finding your dream job. Instead of saying things like, I want to help people, or I want to do something I'm passionate about, or I want to do something in web development, being specific allows others to understand how to help you. Those who know exactly what they want are more likely to get job offers, job referrals, and introductions when meeting with VIPs. VIPs are hiring managers and executives. Their job is to find the best talent, and once they decide they want you, VIP can move heaven and earth to make it happen, even after HR formally rejects you. For instance, if you say, I'd like to become a backend developer at a nonprofit in New York, it becomes easier for a VIP to introduce you to the right person at the nonprofit organization. If you say that to a VIP, they immediately think of who they can introduce you to at that nonprofit. So why are people so reluctant to get specific when it comes to the job search? Let's find out. Well, what getting specific enables you to do? By having a clear dream job in mind, you can prioritize a couple of important aspects. First, talking to the right people, not networking randomly. Crafting the perfect resume message, not worrying about the font size, and applying to the best jobs for you, not just what sounds good. So remember to avoid random acts of non-productive demeanor. And here is what most people do. They start with a vague idea of what they're looking for. For example, I'm passionate about coding. Then they sort through job ads on search engines and send resumes to anything that looks remotely good. Third, they get no response. And fourth, ultimately, they give up and blame external factors such as the economy, the government, and more. We've all heard those stories. And the result? The downward spiral. You go all the way from the excitement of, hey, this job sounds good, to hope, where you submit your resume and cover letter, then to disappointment when you get rejected, or even worse, you don't get a response. Then you're confused and you don't know what to do until you find another job that sounds good. This downward spiral repeats until you fall into apathy and give up. So, as we concluded, most people avoid being specific. Getting specific is uncomfortable, and most people avoid it. And you might ask yourself, why? Well, they might have a fear of closing doors or boxing themselves in. They have a scarce and desperate mentality and will be happy if they land any job. They don't know their options, or they don't know how. We'll break down each one of these reasons, but for now, know that being specific is essential to avoid becoming an average candidate. It's really important to understand that nobody cares about you in job search. When job searching, it's common for people to start by listing what they want. For example, I want a job that allows me to be creative, with flexible hours and cool colleagues. I don't want to have boring tasks. However, this approach reflects the classic I syndrome. The truth is that your future employer doesn't care about you. They want to know what you can do for them. So instead of focusing on what you want to do, it's crucial to identify what problem can you solve for your future employer. So you need to test your way to a dream job. Testing is a key to finding your dream job. To do this, you can follow these steps. First, deeply research to see if the topic actually interests you. If so, organically network with experts to ensure you're on the right track. And if so, test the market by using VIP techniques. By combining theory and testing, you can achieve powerful results. No one knows if a job is suitable for them by merely looking at it. Still, anyone can rapidly test job ideas before committing to one using the sunglasses shopping strategy. So, picture yourself on a quest to find the perfect pair of sunglasses. You stroll past stores that don't catch your eye, but then you spot a pair that looks promising. You step inside, try them on, and examine yourself in the mirror. However, you're not ready to commit just yet. You might go home and ask your friends for their opinions or search online for reviews. Ultimately, you decide whether to purchase them or not. There's no obligation and no risk involved. And finding your dream job is exactly the same. Finding your dream job follows the same process as the sunglasses shopping strategy. First, you find your dream role. Then you find companies that interest you. Firstly, you find your dream job. Then you find companies that interest you. You go deep researching them and talking to experts to see if it's right for you. And if it's not, that's fine. You're just trying things out with zero commitment or risk. If you get to a no at any stage, just restart from the top. Now, a really important thing I want to mention is that you should expect disproportionate results. This is how your journey will look like when compared to an average candidate. You're going to start with fewer results right here, but a ginormous gap is going to emerge over time. This happens when you work on the right things at the right time. So it's that time. I have another action step prepared for you. It's time for you to pick your 3 top job titles. Here are the options you can choose from. We have software engineer, software developer, front-end developer, back-end developer, or full stack developer. So just pick 3 and feel free to write them down on a piece of paper or on your note-taking app. For example, your options may be software engineer, software developer, and front-end developer. Software engineer and software developer are the most popular options, so you may combine these with front-end, back-end, or full-stack developer titles. Now, there are 3 things you need to keep in mind. First, you don't need to know all the skills listed in the job description. Don't be intimidated by technologies mentioned in the job description. Companies know that they cannot get everything they want. So it's okay to apply for a job even if you know only about 60 to 70% of the required technologies. It's better to aim high and readjust later if you fail. Employers also look for a good cultural fit, meaning they want someone who will work well with the team. You can learn the technical skills, but a cultural fit is more important. Second, you don't need to have that many years of experience. Most job postings require at least 2 to 3 years of development experience, while jobs for senior developers usually require a minimum of 5 to 8 years of experience. Again, treat these requirements as a wish list. Depending on your goals, if you see a job posting along the lines of a front-end developer with 2 years of experience, you can and should apply for that job. And 3, time isn't the best way to measure experience. It's crucial to differentiate expertise in time and skill. Outside of some essential work experience, not necessarily IT, the number of years you worked isn't the most crucial factor for getting hired. If you're consistently pushing yourself to learn and improve, and with the proper support, you can have the skills of a developer with years of experience in just months. Now, it's normal to have more questions than answers at this point. Trust the system and focus on where you are now. Every question will be addressed through testing, which takes time. And I have another action step for you. Once you've picked 3 job titles, spend 30 minutes researching each one. You can use sites like LinkedIn or Indeed. Learn everything about the job, including the required skills, career path, and salary. Read the job postings and learn how your dream role is described and what you can expect. You'll likely end up with many questions, but that's okay because they'll be answered in due time. The total time for this exercise is about 90 minutes. So this is your second action step. Again, spend time researching your dream roles. Which brings us to the second step of our whole journey, which is finding your dream company and sidestepping your competition to find the best jobs which aren't even advertised. So, the most common obstacles to find a dream jobs are that you might feel uncertain about whether the jobs you've selected are truly the right fit for you or not, which is okay. Remember, you're not picking one job for life. You're generating ideas so you can get out there and start testing. Now, let me make one crucial point. Normal actions lead to normal results. Most people rely on job boards like LinkedIn or Indeed and send out countless resumes, even though this approach yields poor results. And why is that? Well, it's because that's what they're used to doing, even if it doesn't work. There are many reasons to avoid job boards, such as fierce competition, low quality jobs, and the downward spiral. However, there's another reason why this strategy falls short, and that is that the best jobs are not advertised. Most job seekers rely solely on browsing online job ads, but there's a game being played around them that they're not aware of. The majority of jobs, up to 80%, are filled before they're advertised. These are known as shadow market jobs that you won't find on job boards. If you only focus on job boards, you're essentially fighting over the remaining 20% of the jobs. So, which one would you prefer to compete in? Let me know in the live chat. I can already see that the majority of you wants to get into the shadow job market. So let me give you the 2 methods to do that. First, you have to build a strong network of well-connected individuals who are willing to assist you. And then you have to take the direct approach. Reach out to employers you're interested in working for and pitch yourself to them, even if they're not actively seeking candidates. This is a proactive approach that is very different from what most job seekers do, and that's why it works. When I'm hiring for JavaScript Mastery, I incredibly appreciate taking initiative. Many of the people that are on the JavaScript Mastery team right now are the people that have reached out with a message when I was not even hiring. They just showed me what they're capable of doing, and I took them in because they decided to take the initiative. Now, I will explain the precise techniques later, but first, you must locate companies to pitch. That's the purpose of this step. So let me quickly emphasize that high performers are proactive. They test, and fail 80% of the time. But when they succeed, they win big. So if you might think, fantastic, I already have a company in mind, you might want to hold on a moment. You may already have 1 or 2 businesses in mind, such as Google, Meta, or Microsoft. However, you cannot rely solely on 1 to 2 firms. That's what rookies do. You must create a company pipeline by identifying and targeting multiple businesses. So first you generate companies, then you qualify them, and then you get offers. So why would you build a company pipeline? First, to avoid one it is. In dating, a man has one it is if he's so obsessed with one woman that he forgets about all the rest. The result? He doesn't get the girl and becomes depressed and ruins his other chances as well, entering the downward spiral. Instead, what top performers do is that they never put all their eggs in one basket and always have other options, which makes employers want them that much more. So let's say 2 people come into an interview at a company. One person has 2 job offers lined up and the other doesn't. Which one is more likely to get a job? Of course, if 2 other companies trust the first guy, the third company is going to trust him as well. And then the second reason you need a company pipeline is finding a dream job means practice. Most people don't consider job hunting a skill. They simply show up and hope for the best. How did the interview go? Well, okay, I guess. You won't just show up. You're going to walk into every interview with hours of practice beforehand. And because you did all of that up front, you'll get disproportionate results. Now, let's talk about Tier 1 versus Tier 2 companies. There's bound to be some companies that you're really interested in, which is Tier 1, and some that you're just sort of interested in. The key is to start with your Tier 2 companies and save your Tier 1 companies for later. That way, you're going to get practice without worrying about messing up. You expect failure, then you accept it, learn from it, and get better. A bonus is that a Tier 2 company might end up being your real dream company. So you're going to need to find lots of companies to fill your pipeline with. Let's do that right now. So how can you start choosing your companies? Well, first you can go to LinkedIn at a link similar to this one, and that's going to show you a list of all the companies. Next, you want to filter by industry. Filter industries that seem interesting to you. One example is software development, but don't limit yourself only to that industry. For example, Apple and Netflix are not in this industry on LinkedIn. Then, filter by location. You may filter the company's location for United States, Europe, or anything else, depending on where you want to work. Filter on company size as well. Do you want to work in a smaller company, medium-sized company, large corporation? The choice is yours. And as a bonus, having a school in common makes connecting with the VIPs so much easier. Imagine someone who went to your school, works in job title you're interested in, works in an industry you're interested in, and works in a company that you're interested in. That person would definitely be open to talking to you, which I'll show you how to approach them soon. And I'm gonna show you how to approach them really soon. So for now, note down the companies that seem interesting, for example, in Notion or other note-taking applications. Another option is to search for people by going to the following URL. You're searching for people that have your dream role and they work where you want to work. So first of all, you can search and filter by your dream role. You can then also filter by location, if that's a factor, or filter by connections. It's going to be easier to connect with them if they're in the first or the second connection rather than people without any connections. And you can also filter people by companies to see where they work and what company hires which people. Now, note down the companies you want to work at. You can do it with a pen and paper, but in this case, you can simply copy their links and put them in a note-taking app such as Notion. That might be better for this case. Now, what do you do with all of these people? Well, start studying their background, including the companies that they worked at. What you're doing here is you're really exposing yourself to a lot of companies you would never have heard about. The great thing about each one of these companies is that it is geographically located where you want, and they hire people in the job titles that you want. You can also see how people progress in their careers. Now, there are also some other dream company sources, such as the job posting sites. Indeed, which is for well-established companies with larger hiring budgets. AngelList for startup opportunities. Y Combinator, also for startup. Built-in focuses on tech jobs that can be filtered by company, location, and remote opportunities. Startup.jobs, The Muse, OnRamp, and Oda. And finally, hiring platforms such as Hire.com, TripleByte, and Hatchways. Finally, you can also browse VC firm portfolio companies. Venture capital firms are institutions that invest in startups as they grow. Some have earned incredible reputations by identifying tomorrow's unicorns and having the best sense of what will be tomorrow's household names. Now, I'm sure you've heard the news about layoffs. So yes, layoffs feel terrible, and it is generally a negative indicator of a stability for a company. However, sometimes it is worth looking at more closely at what roles were impacted. Sometimes the layoffs impact only non-engineering roles, and in fact, engineering teams are continuing to expand. You can find more information about layoffs at the layoffs.fyi. And as a bonus, use keyvalues.com to find companies aligned with your values. This is going to allow you to do more fulfilling work. Now, we can also apply the sunglasses shopping strategy for companies, where you make a list of 5 to 10 companies that interest you. Don't worry about only aiming for tier 1 companies. Consider any companies that might be a good fit for you. Research company thoroughly, spending 20 minutes on each to learn about what they do, their challenges, and where you could fit in with your target job role. Don't worry about crossing off too many things right now. As we get into organic networking, we will make sure that companies are a perfect fit. And as a bonus, look up the CEO's name and the keyword interview to learn more about the language they use and values. Is this method perfect? No. But when you use any filtering process, you're bound to miss a few good companies. But that's okay. It's more important that you move quickly, keep it simple, and pick something. And most importantly, something that exists out there. So let's not be all talk, no work. Let's move to our action step. First, select 5 tier 2 companies. That's gonna take you about 20 minutes. Now you will do some research on each company you picked, just like you did with the job title. Then spend 20 minutes on each company. Read their LinkedIn, browse their websites, look them up with a search engine. That's gonna take you about 100 minutes. Figure out what exactly do they do, what are their challenges, and where do you and your target job role fit in. Are there any issues or improvements you can make to their website or product? How would you do that? If you want to go all out, you can create a better clone of their website or just a few parts of it. Try to find where you can provide them with value. This is going to take you about 2 hours. Don't do it now, but write it down on your notebook and do it after this webinar. So, what are the takeaways? First of all, the majority of jobs, especially the best ones, are taken before they're ever advertised. This is known as the shadow market. To tap into the shadow market, you need to generate your own list of companies and apply to them directly. Avoid one it is. Don't pull all your efforts into one company. Instead, create a pipeline of prospects and keep it filled. And the process for discovering your dream company involves starting with a big list, narrowing it down, and exploring your options one by one. So let's take a look at the big picture. By now, you've gotten specific about the 2 things that matter the most: job roles and employers. So compare that to where most people are. Most people say, I want to do innovative work that helps people. But you say, I'd like to work as a front-end developer at a media company in New York. And you can repeat this for every company that you chose. So who do you think has a better chance of knowing exactly what to do next? Of getting help from a VIP? That's the incredible power of getting specific. Can you notice any mistakes you've been making in your job search so far? Do you think this approach is better and will give you your best shot? Let me know in the chat. Perfect. I'm stoked to see your responses. I see them coming in already. Now, let's talk about networking. The goal is to build invaluable relationships without being sleazy. This part is incredibly important, so focus. This will change the way you look at networking and job search as a whole. Firstly, let's review what we've covered so far. We've already identified our psychological barriers and listed potential job titles and companies. Now, we'll utilize organic networking to test our ideas. Although it may seem straightforward, consider what you've accomplished so far. You've gone a lot further than most developers do. So, let's move to strategy. You've made strategic choices, including being specific, going direct, and testing ideas. Now it's time for yet another strategic shift. Imagine Mark and Kim's first date after meeting online. At the end of the date, Mark asks Kim if they should enter into a long-term relationship. It sounds absurd, but most job interviews are similar. 2 strangers meet briefly and then decide whether to start a serious relationship. The problem with so-called cold interviewing is that the interaction feels forced and awkward from the start. There's a better way. Introducing the warm approach. Most average candidates apply and cold interview without any prior interaction with the employer. But what if you took things slow and you and your employer were practically friends first by the interview? This is where the warm-up strategy comes in. Notice that the route you'll take involves more steps and is more challenging. However, it also yields significantly better results. This is a classic example of disproportionate results. Most people just cold apply, cold interview, and hope for a job offer. But you are going to reach out to a mutual contact, get introduced to the company, chat with them over coffee, then do a warm application, a warm interview, and then the odds of the job offer are way higher. So, would you prefer to spend 3 hours per week and receive no results, or spend 6 hours per week and receive 3 interviews? So, why does it work? Well, job hunting has become impersonal with HR departments, screening software, and automated rejection letters. As developers, we love the efficiency of these processes, but we need to keep in mind what is truly effective. In this step, we're going to humanize the job search process by building personal relationships. When you connect with someone on a personal level, you're no longer just another candidate in a pool of applicants. By building a personal connection, you can differentiate yourself from the competition and de-risk the hiring decision for the employer. We'll discuss how to establish a personal connection with your target employer before the interview. Although this takes some time, the payoff is significant. If you're still unsure, most of the employers that work for JS Mastery were warm contacts. They didn't apply cold. We had known each other one way or another. And just like they say, it's hard to fire a friend, it's easy to hire one. So let's start with the organic networking. To begin, you've already selected a target job role and a few companies of your interest. And now it's time to test your ideas. However, there are still unanswered questions, such as whether this is truly what you want and if you can realistically obtain the job. The solution is to start organic networking by talking to experts who have already been in your desired job role. This approach is often overlooked, but it can provide valuable insights that can help you make informed decisions. You see, organic networking works, but very few people do it. Although most networking can be, organic networking is not sleazy or desperate. When done genuinely and effectively, it can be a powerful tool in your job search. Even if you don't have an existing network, there are ways to find and connect with top experts who are willing to help. Most people enjoy helping others, especially high performers. So don't be afraid to reach out and start building valuable relationships. Winners help winners, and you will be one. Now, let me show you how to organically network. Because you will network with the right people and in the right way, so you maximize your effectiveness while not stepping on any toes. Here's exactly what you're going to do this week. Find 5 experts in your field. Email them for a coffee, phone call, or an online meeting. Show up and ask good questions, and then follow up and build real relationships. Now let's walk through each one of these steps. First is to find experts. Classic networking advice is talk to everybody, but there's a better way to do it that will save you time and effort. Instead, find experts in your field who have experience doing what you want to do. These people have or had your dream job, worked or work at your company, and are an authority in your industry. So for example, if they worked at your dream company, they can give you insights you'd never be able to learn from the outside. And if they're no longer working there, they'll often be brutally honest since they have nothing to lose. So, do you know any of these people? Chances are you do. And if not, you can easily find them. Here's how. Go to LinkedIn People Search. Search your dream role and filter by location. Filter by connections, first and then second. The first connections are people who you are directly connected to, and you can message them directly. Second connections are friends of friends, aka people connected to people who you're connected to. LinkedIn tells you who that mutual connection is, and you'll be able to reach out to that connection and say something like, hey, I noticed that you're connected to, full name, on LinkedIn, and I would love to pick his brain for 10 minutes. I would really appreciate it if you could send the introduction. Here's a quick introductory email that you can just paste in. Is that cool with you? And the vast majority of people will be more than happy to do that. And finally, third connections are strangers. You can connect with these people with a custom message or see if they provided contact information on their profile, like an email or a link to a website. Then filter people by current company and include second connection if you have no results in the first one. Finally, see if they're a good fit. Do they have my dream role? Could they have some insights? How do you do that? You spend less than 30 seconds reviewing their profile. Another option is to go to LinkedIn's company search. Search for companies and where they work. Click on any connections within a company, or go to company's profile and then people you may know. The goal is to find 5 experts. Now, this doesn't mean you should only reach out to 5 people. It's better to start off with more than less. Start off with more, build your funnel, track your metrics. This is as simple as, I reached out to 20 people this week, and by the end of the week, I had 5 meetings. What's your conversion rate? 5 out of 20, or 25%. That's it. The next step is to reach out via email. Once you find experts, reach out and ask for 15 minutes of their time. It's crucial to provide a limit of time, since busy people don't want to get stuck on a 2-hour call with a chatty or an awkward person. Meeting in person is ideal, but a phone call or an online meeting works too. Reach out on Monday or Tuesday and ask to meet later in a week, because if you reach out later in the week, there's a good chance that your reach out will get lost in the weekend. Now, let's take a look at the first example of how not to reach out, and then look at better examples. So this right here is an example of a terrible reach out. This is what a busy person thinks. As part of a research project I'm working on regarding web development jobs, I'm actively researching out to like-minded professionals to determine some or all of the following. Who are you, and why should I care? Is it possible to get started on a development career with minimum experience in the field? Is there some sense of career stability? Or is it a cutthroat industry? Does a developer's salaries correspond fairly with the amount of work you do? And how often do you have direct contact with clients? These questions suck, and it looks like you haven't done your research. Experts don't respect laziness. And if you say thanks in advance for your help, your input is greatly appreciated, a busy person thinks this person is asking me to do work for them. On the other hand, this is an example of a great reach out. Hi Steve, greetings from a fellow Californian. I was doing some research on React developer positions on LinkedIn, and I noticed you're a React developer at company. Here, you share your first line on who you are and why you're writing. Mention a connection if possible. Then you lead with, I'm on a quest for my dream developer job and would love to ask you 3 to 5 questions about your experience at company. Would you be available for a quick chat over coffee this Thursday at 12 a.m.? I'm also free anytime Friday. So here, you just have a one single request with a proposed time plus the alternate times. And you say, sincerely, John Doe. P.S. I'm sure you're busy, so if it's easier for you, I'd be happy to send my questions via email. Thanks again. Here, you provide alternate options, shifting their mindset from thinking, should I, to which one. And here's another tip on how to get to a yes. The yes/no test. A good pitch is one where the recipient only has to say yes or no. Here's an example. Ineffective is I would appreciate your advice. Ineffective is, are you available for a phone call at 4 p.m.? Now, let me provide you with some additional email tips. First, don't be chatty. Use 5 sentences max when starting out. Create a reason or an excuse to meet. Saying, I'll be in town on Thursday triggers a social response. And show enthusiasm. It makes a big difference. If they agree, let's discuss what to do at the actual meeting. Of course, ask questions that don't suck. Makes sense, right? Informal meetings are a chance for you to test your ideas and gain new perspectives. They are not an opportunity to secure a job. Don't ask for a job now. I want to emphasize that. This is not the point to ask for a job. Also, these meetings are not a chance to talk about yourself, so be quiet and listen. You have a lot of questions, but they all boil down to 2 essential questions. Would I like this job? And can I get it? If the answers are yes, then you can proceed. If not, you should take a step back and revise either your target job position or the companies you're interested in. Here is the secret to asking good questions. I call it the think ahead technique. You try to answer each question yourself before you actually ask it. Do this for every answer. By scenario planning each response, you can eliminate pointless or redundant questions by demonstrating respect for the other person's time. So here's an all too common exchange experts experience. Person asks, what do you think I should do? Expert says, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you believe is the best course of action? And then a person says, I think I'll go with X. This response drives them insane. They've answered their own question while wasting experts' time. Don't force the busy experts to do more work than necessary. So here are examples of good questions. 4. Would I like this job? As someone who's been in the web development industry for 2 years, what has been the biggest surprise to you? Or, it seems like developers either get promoted quickly or get stuck for a few years. Is that usually the case, or are there other common paths? 4. Can I get this job, and how can I maximize my chances? Ask, it looks like the job requires some system design experience. Can I learn that on my own or not at all? Or, you've worked with a lot of developers in your career. Besides raw talent, what's the number one thing you're looking for in a developer? And finally, step number 4. Follow up and build relationships. At this stage, you've already demonstrated superior networking skills to most people. However, most people fail by not following up. Many simply get advice and then vanish forever. Of course, the expert promptly forgets about them. You, on the other hand, will cultivate authentic, long-term relationships with people you contact by reciprocating value. I refer to this as Advice, Action, Update, or AAU method. This technique requires 3 separate follow-ups. First, a thank you on the same day. Hey Mark, I just wanted to thank you again for meeting with me earlier. I'm definitely going to get in touch with Susan like you recommended. I'll keep you in the loop, and of course, please let me know if there's anything I can do to repay for the favor. John. That's it. The second follow-up. Add value. You can do this 1 to 2 weeks later. Hey Mark, just saw this article in the Wall Street Journal and it reminded me of what you said about testing. No response needed, just thought you might find it interesting. And the third one, to close the loop, about 2 to 3 weeks later. Hi Mark, just wanted to give you an update. I did end up talking to Jamie and you were right. Acme Company is definitely a fit for me. I'm reaching out to a friend there to learn all I can about them before I apply. If there's anyone else you think I should speak to, please let me know. Thanks again, and I'll let you know how it goes. John. Now, why does this work? Well, experts are used to and despaired by giving advice to average people that never do anything. But when you actually take their advice and keep them informed, they automatically perceive you as a winner and you move to the top of their mind. You also never truly pressure them to respond, which is something busy people love. You're being upfront about your intentions, so you're not sleazy or demanding. So here is the end result of you versus most people. Month 1, you reached out to experts. Other people say networking is sleazy. Month number 2, you received VIP introductions to companies. Other people, I guess I'll try networking. And then month 3, you found your dream job or you're very close. And most people still say networking is still sleazy. This means that organic networking gets you results. Emailing strangers is often considered weird or creepy, and many people believe it doesn't work. This is because most people come across as average Joes instead of top performers. However, by preparing better than anyone else and acting like a competent individual, the results can be different. Here are the key takeaways. Most people view networking as sleazy without realizing the game being played around them. Organic networking involves being genuine, asking for help, and being willing to help in return. You also display competence. Act like a top performer by writing good emails, asking intelligent questions, and following up. And finally, people are willing to help if they see you as a smart and as a doer. Winners want to work with other winners. Now, let's take a look at the big picture. This is all a part of the idea testing process. And if you love your target job role and companies after talking to experts, then continue to the next step. If not, keep searching for other companies and other experts. It's essential to remember that you're building real relationships for the long term, which is crucial for your career and personal fulfillment. Organic networking is just one step, but building relationships is a long-term endeavor. While the previous lectures may be challenging and require making significant decisions that challenge firm beliefs, pushing past them makes life easier. Once you know what you want, you just have to go after it. So now, can you notice the effectiveness of this approach? Although you might be a bit nervous about it, does it seem like it could work really well? Let me know in the live chat. Perfect. Now for the action step. First, find 5 experts to reach out to using the LinkedIn method shown earlier. This is going to take you about 30 minutes. Draft a clear, concise email or message and reach out to them for a coffee meeting, phone call, or an online meeting. About another 30 minutes. Do your homework ahead of time. When you show up, ask only the most important 5 questions and then shut up and listen. This is going to take you 1 hour per expert, including homework and meeting time. And finally, follow up every 3 to 4 weeks by using the advice, action, update, or the AAU method. The total time, 6 hours. And finally, the next step is perfecting your resume and CV. And here's why almost all resumes are horrible. At this point, here's what you will have done. You will have identified one job role to pursue. You will have identified 5 companies to apply to. And you will have conducted interviews with at least 5 industry experts. Don't skip on these steps. They are the foundation of your job search, and skipping them compromises your chances of success. Many developers tend to be guilty of the nod and shrug fallacy, where they say, yeah, I know I really should do that. And then they don't do it. They just save it for later. Don't do this, okay? Be sure to follow the action steps. They are absolutely critical to amplify the effects of the tactical moves we are about to get into. I want to make an important point, and that is that winning doesn't require being the best. To secure a job, you only need to be slightly better than the other candidates. And employers often receive hundreds or even thousands of resumes for a single job posting. However, more than half of them can be discarded instantly due to errors such as spelling mistakes. Less than 5% of the remaining applications will even come close to meeting the requirements of the job. Thankfully, by following the targeted and specific approach we've been using so far, you can set yourself apart from the crowd. Focus on relationships, not just resumes. Most people mindlessly submit their resumes to dozens of jobs, hoping to get a response. But you're not most people. Your strategy is to build relationships, seek advice from industry experts, and work your way up to a company's VIP. Having a personal connection with someone on the inside of a company makes all the difference in getting hired. By approaching the job search process as a way to make friends, you're setting yourself up for success. It's like selling an experience, which is what Starbucks is doing, while every other place is selling coffee. You are decommoditizing yourself. Resumes and cover letters are still important, of course, and we'll show you how to create compelling ones, but it's the relationships that you build that will truly set you apart from other candidates. Now, your resumes and CVs are your safety net. Your best case scenario is the AAU method, where resume and cover letter is just a formality. Your worst case scenario, cold application, is where resume and cover letter dominates the competition, and then everyone else just does the generic application, which is doomed to failure. So you have to get your marketing materials, your safety net. In the best case scenario, your personal connections will be the key to landing your dream job. In this situation, your resume and cover letter will be a little more than a formality. In the worst case scenario, you'll have to rely solely on your marketing materials to win over the employer. In this case, having a strong resume and cover letter will be essential to standing out from the competition. So why do I call resumes and CV marketing materials? Well, that's because their purpose is to promote and market your skills and experience. Like with ads, your goal with the resume is to get the reader to do an action, not buying a product, but inviting you for an interview. So here's how to craft your ideal resume. To begin with, let's cover the essential elements of a good resume. There are three main sections that should be included: experience, education, and skills. While you can add other sections, it's best to keep it simple. Use short bullet points instead of paragraphs and keep it to 1 or 2 pages. 2 is most likely too much. Remember, your resume is a marketing document and not your entire work history. Highlight only the key accomplishments that support your narrative. Now, what about the details? While there are many details that go into a resume, such as a font choice and margins, but compared to your narrative, they're not even a factor. Nevertheless, here is a quick checklist to go through to make sure your resume doesn't have obvious flaws that will cause it to be discarded. Headings include all the first order information the employer needs, including name, phone number, professional email address, not Hotmail, Yahoo, AOL, or university, city and state or province, and full hyperlinks to LinkedIn, portfolio, and GitHub. Then the summary section. Try to include at least 3 to 5 of the following: title of a role you're pursuing, background experience that connects to the role you're pursuing, avoid pronouns, don't list yourself as a student, 2 to 3 transferable skills, for example, adaptable, time management, communication, innovative, collaborative, conflict resolution, years of related experience, keep it below 10, accomplishments, recognitions, and or awards, and training or certifications. Title of the role you're pursuing. Do not identify as a student. Background experience that connects to the role you're pursuing. Avoid pronouns. 2 to 3 transferable skills. Years of related experience. accomplishments, recognitions, and or awards, and training or certifications. Highlight skills and projects completed. For the technical section, ensure programming languages and technologies conform to standard spelling and style for the industry. And use up to 3 of your strongest projects with a brief description, languages used, and written links to both deployed projects and code. Now, your experience needs to be clearly laid out with accomplishments highlighted one after another. Education needs to be listed in reverse chronological order with locations and certifications, and you need to pass the applicant tracking system. And you do that by including standard heading titles, spelling out acronyms and abbreviations, use bullets instead of asterisks, avoid images, icons, or photographs, avoid color text, avoid columns, tables, text boxes, and graphs, and use keywords that match the job description and align with the required skills needed for that specific role. Now, keep the design clean and simple, meaning no template language. Design does not get in way of the text or necessary content. Text fills out the page without overcrowding. Balanced margins. No more than 1 page if new to the field, 2 if you have relevant experience. Name and headlines stand out. And few or no hanging lines, where just a few words end up taking an entire line. You also need to keep your resume consistent and professional. Font size from 11 to 12, consistent and professional font style, and consistent use of bold, italic, and underline. Also, check for correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation, and make sure to write it in an easy to read and professional sounding tone. Now, those were all the little details. Now, let's explore all the main issues with resumes. People usually don't choose their narrative, they have a lot of fluff, and they don't use bullet points to sell their strengths. For example, they say, I went to school here, then worked here, then there, and then I did this thing. Facts aren't enough. Your resume needs a clear underlying thread that ties all the facts together into a cohesive and compelling story. There are 3 key steps to creating a narrative-based resume. Choose your narrative, cut the fluff, and use bullet points to sell your strengths. Now let's go over each one of these in detail. First, select your narrative. An exceptional resume can be summarized by one message. I am the blank who helps you with something. For instance, we can say something like, I'm Maria, the front-end developer who turns designs into pixel-perfect and responsive websites that wow users. Or I'm Tom, the back-end developer who builds scalable and secure web applications that exceed your expectations. Your potential employer's primary concern is understanding who you are and how can you help them. However, most people do not consider resumes in this way. If the underlying message of your resume is unclear, a hiring manager will give it a glance for 15 to 20 seconds and move on. To avoid this, be clear about the top 1 to 3 takeaways you want your employers to get. Here's a tip. If you're not sure if your resume is clear enough, there is a simple test that you can do. Give your resume to 5 people, friends, family, or strangers. Have them look at the resume for 10 to 20 seconds, and then ask them to summarize that person in 1 to 2 sentences. If the response doesn't carry the same meaning as your narrative, it's back to the drawing board. So, you already have the answer. Most people are unaware that they need a message, much less what it should be. So they give bland responses like, I'm passionate. But you have done the preparation and you already know the precise role you're targeting, the exact terms used by employers, and the most significant challenges. It's time to put all of that knowledge together and come up with your narrative. So, put yourself in the shoes of your potential employer. What are the top 1 to 3 things that would compel them to notice, remember, and call you over the other hundreds of resumes in their inbox? I am the blank that can help you do blank. Don't skip this stage. Step 2, cut the fluff. Most resumes are fluffier than cotton candy. They sound fantastic, but there isn't much substance to them. Hiring managers aren't gullible. They can detect fluff from miles away. So review your resume line by line and ask yourself, is this written in plain English? What am I trying to say here? And does it support my narrative? If the answer is yes, keep it. If not, remove it. Be relentless. Every word should earn its spot on the page. So first of all, use plain English. Here's an example from a real resume. A creative and strategic thinker with excellent written and verbal communication skills. In plain English, I'm smart and well-rounded. That is it. Here's another one. Delivered results under tight deadlines and last-minute time constraints. In plain English, this means completed the tasks on time. Not very persuasive if you put it that way. This appears to be straightforward, but is surprisingly difficult to do in practice, especially when you consider that most job search advice recommends you to use phrases like these. But with practice, you'll become great at writing and saying what matters. So, on to the step 3. Write bullets that sell your strengths. Most people write their resumes using language like this. Developed responsive web applications according to established processes. Okay, first of all, according to established processes is meaningful, so let's cut that. And then second, let's use language that engages the reader. Inject vivid details, credibility markers, and tangible outcomes whenever possible to surprise your reader. For example, crafted visually stunning and user-friendly web applications that seamlessly adapt to all devices and browsers, resulting in a 40% decrease in bounce rate and higher user engagement for clients such as XYZ Corporation. Can you notice the difference? The first one bores hiring manager, and the second wows them. So if you're not sure which bullet points to write, it depends on the company you're applying to, their needs, challenges, and wants. So here are the key takeaways to perfect your resume. Remember, the most critical aspect of any resume isn't your design or font, it's the narrative. Structure everything to fit the narrative and get rid of everything else. Finally, polish up the final product by injecting vivid details and credibility into all bullet points. Now, does this 3-step way to writing a resume make sense? Can you notice any flaws your current resume has? And do you understand how we can improve it? I really hope you do. Now it's time to talk about cover letters. So, how to create the perfect one? Cover letters are often overlooked, but they can be the key to landing a job interview. A great cover letter isn't a summary of your resume. It should be the answer to the question of why should we interview you for this job? So here's the problem with the average cover letters. Most cover letters are generic, cliché, and boring. Even great candidates fall into this trap because they view their cover letter as an afterthought to their resume. But a cover letter is not just a rehash of your resume. It should provide with the why behind your qualifications while your resume focuses on the what. So, step 1, choose your top 1 to 3 selling points. To answer the question of why you should be interviewed, start by brainstorming a list of all reasons why your target company should hire you, and then choose the best 1 to 3 selling points. If you're a seasoned professional, your selling points may focus on your track record. But if you're relatively inexperienced, highlight your intangible qualities, such as, in descending order, the initiative you took in the past jobs, referral from a mutual acquaintance, interest in the field or company, your personality being the perfect fit for the company, and your creativity. Then, step 2 is to tell a story for each. The best cover letters tell stories. Why? Because they capture our attention and we can't resist reading them. They show rather than tell. Nobody else writes them, and people remember stories of how you made them feel, not boring facts. For example, people remember the story of Leonidas and the 300 Spartans, but they don't remember when or where the battle has happened. And most importantly, stories show that you're a real person. In a sea of anonymous, forgettable applications, this is your key to stand out. So, once again, show and don't tell. What's more memorable? I'm passionate about web development, or I've taken 10 courses on React in the last 6 months, and a week doesn't go by that I don't have at least 10 commits, and I had meetings with 5 developers last week, one of whom taught me about accessibility. If you can't come up with a good story for one of your selling points, then it's probably not great to begin with. Here are good examples of selling points. For example, I graduated with a BA in neuroscience from UC Berkeley with a 3.6 GPA and a minor in music composition. I taught myself to code by building a movie review site by Ruby on Rails that grew to more than 1,000 users over 6 months. Or I was 1 out of 3 QA engineers at Apple for the past 5 years, making quality decisions for Apple Watch software build candidates based on a daily pass of nearly 50 functional tests. And here are some of the bad examples. I'm really passionate about front-end engineering, or my team won the best project award in the hackathon week. I'm fluent in French, or I have a master's degree in CS. These are not so compelling. And after that, it's time to write your cover letter. Start with a short and a direct opener. Dear hiring manager, I'm excited to write to you about a specific position, and here are the 3 reasons why I'd be a perfect fit for the role. Notice right away that you immediately come off as enthusiastic or excited and confident. This is a breath of the fresh air when compared to everyone else. Now let's skip ahead and write a simple call to action at the end. I'm confident that my skills and my experience would be a great asset to company, and I'd love to chat with you about the role in more detail. Sincerely, name. Finally, let's write these stories in the middle. Once more, write to sell. Most people don't even tell stories, let alone interesting ones. So, give some details. What parts of the story were most vivid? We were up to our neck in bugs until 2 a.m. Get emotional. What did you feel? It was frustrating, but at the same time, I felt proud to be working with smart, driven people, all committed to the same goal. And share your insights. What was the big takeaway? There's nothing like being on a team where everyone can count on each other and we're pushing towards the same shared goal, and that's the kind of attitude I try to bring to every project I work on. So here are the key points to remember. Do not rehash your resume. Remember the DRY principle. Do not use soft language. For example, I believe, I think. Display confidence by using firm and determined language. Use keywords the company uses in the job posting, their website, and the LinkedIn page. Use the CV to hook in the hiring manager to read your resume. It should captivate them. And most people say, I have good communication skills. Well, show it with the engaging and compelling language. Come across as a real person. Now, you might think, but I hate being salesy. So how do you sell yourself without coming across as arrogant or egotistical? Well, here's what a hiring manager has said. I've reviewed thousands of resumes and have never looked at one thought. This person brags too much. It's always the other way around. This is a job application. The hiring manager wants somebody to come along and impress them. So why not make lives a little easier? Stop worrying about overselling. Chances are that you're not doing it enough. So, let's talk about your resume and CV in the big picture. After this step, you're going to have a huge advantage over other applicants. Not because of better skills, but because of better marketing or positioning. You still need to do some tweaks for each application, but now you have your baseline materials. And of course, they'll get better with each revision. And remember, while you do need these materials, you're not relying on them. Your strategy runs far deeper than resumes and cover letters. So, let's move to our action steps for creating your perfect marketing materials. First, create your perfect resume. This is going to take 2 hours to choose your narrative, cut the fluff, and write bullets that sell. Then write your perfect cover letter. This is going to take 3 hours to pick your 1 to 3 top selling points, tell a compelling story for each, and then write your letter. In total, 5 hours. Okay, now let's quickly summarize what you've learned today and what your next steps will be. Take notes or screenshots and do the work. Remember the nod and shrug fallacy. If you do not change your actions, you cannot change your results. So, here are the takeaways. First, you've learned how to get rid of false beliefs. This is your first step. So here's the action step. Feel free to take a screenshot or write it down. This takes only 10 minutes. Take some time to think and list 5 false beliefs that are preventing you from obtaining what you desire, even if you believe them to be true. Then, using the 10x Smarter method, write down what your genius self would do to overcome these obstacles. You've learned why getting specific is immensely powerful. It means that you can talk to right people, craft the perfect resume message, and apply to best jobs. This is your second step. So, pick 3 job titles and spend 30 minutes researching each one. Use LinkedIn or Indeed. Next, you now know how to find your dream company. You've learned how to sidestep the competition, tap into the shadow market, and find the best jobs which aren't even advertised. You've gotten specific about 2 things that matter the most: job roles and employers. And finally, here's the action step. Select and research 5 tier 2 companies, and then spend 20 minutes on each company, read their LinkedIn, browse their websites, and look them up on Google. Also, you now understand how to network organically. Most people view networking as sleazy without realizing the game being played around them. When you network organically, you're being genuine, asking for help, and being willing to help in return. Remember, winners want to work with other winners. So, here's the action step. Find 5 experts to reach out to. Draft a clear, concise email or message and reach out to them for a coffee meeting, phone call, or an online meeting. Do your homework ahead of time. When you show up, ask your 5 most important questions, and then shut up and listen. Finally, follow up every 3 to 4 weeks using the advice, action, update method. Now, you finally also know how to write a great resume and CV. You know to focus on what really matters. So here's the 5th action step. Create your perfect resume. Choose your narrative, cut the fluff, write the bullets that sell, and then write your perfect cover letter. Pick your top 1 to 3 selling points, tell a compelling story for each, and write your letter. All in all, to do the steps below, it will take you about 15 hours. If you follow these steps, you will have blasted through many barriers which keep developers stuck. Now, this webinar has been going on for a while, so I don't have time to cover the next step in detail. But that being said, what's left to do is to apply by getting in touch with VIPs, ace your interviews, and negotiate your salary and benefits. Of course, before you do a deep dive into the job search, you'll need to perfect your development skills. If you're a developer, it's hard to truly know what your skill level is. For example, in the JSM Masterclass experience, we have many bootcamp graduates, junior and mid developers who are shocked with how many gaps they actually have. From proper Git usage in teams, project management, leadership, and teamwork skills, developing a project from start to finish. There is a lot you need to know as a developer, so keep these things in mind and work to improve them. All right, let's wrap up with a quick round of questions. Are you happy you came to the webinar today? Do you realize the advantage you will have by following this proven process? Can you see yourself applying what I showed you today? And even if you use just a tiny fraction of what you discovered, would you say your time was well spent? And would you like to spend even more time together, going even deeper and further on this? If you answered yes, stick around and I'll tell you more about the JSM Masterclass experience. If not, thanks for joining, best of luck, and I'll see you another time. All the information you heard about the job search today was taken from our career development series on the Masterclass, which focuses on landing our students their dream jobs. So you might be wondering what the Masterclass is. I'll explain it to you in 2 minutes. The Masterclass is a flexible, remote, 6-month program where we help intermediate developers land their dream jobs with support from our expert mentors. And if they don't land their dream job, they get a full refund. They focus on monthly team projects. You will spend most of your time developing apps from start to finish in teams of 3 to 5 developers. These apps will make you stand out from hundreds of developers applying for your dream job. You will spend most of your time developing apps from start to finish in teams of 3 to 5 developers. These apps will make you stand out from hundreds of developers applying for your dream job. And unlike in many bootcamps, or while learning alone, we're going to simulate a real day-to-day developer workflow and environment. This means that you're going to be ready for your dream job from day one. And you will develop 4 apps. For the first 3 months, you will develop 1 application each month, and after that, you will build 1 huge 3-month-long capstone project. Alongside all of this, you're going to get expert mentor guidance. In the Masterclass, you'll have weekly meetings with mentors, and our mentors are experienced senior developers passionate for their students' success. You'll have individual meetings where you'll get personal guidance and team meetings to ensure your project is moving smoothly. There are also office hours 3 times per week where you can jump in and get advice. Besides meetings, mentors will be available 24/7 to help you with any bugs or questions. They'll answer questions via chat or by hopping on a call if something is unclear. You won't get stuck on an error for days or weeks anymore. Mentors will also review your pull requests and give you feedback on every single line of code that you write, so that over time you'll start to think and code like a senior developer. This was just one example of a pull request we've done recently. Of course, I can't leave out the job search lectures, which is where today's webinar content was pulled from. It consists the job search, mock interviews, LinkedIn and GitHub optimization, VIP applications, acing your, even negotiating your salary, and so much more. We're gonna also include algorithm exercises, front-end challenges, webinars, and live Q&As where you'll be able to ask me any questions you have, and a custom platform we're developing. Now, we're only accepting applications for a limited time, and once the doors close, you have to wait for the next enrollment period. So, to apply, you can go to the link I'll give you shortly. But you might be wondering, how much do you need to invest to be able to join the Masterclass? Well, $108,000 is the average salary for a full-stack React.js developer. And bootcamps cost about $20,000, and they teach you how to build, well, average applications. The Masterclass costs way less and delivers way more. It consists of 3 options. The Exceptional Engineer, which is now discounted from $17,000 to $16,000 for the start of the cohort. It includes 6 months of coaching, 3-month capstone project, a job guarantee, daily one-on-one mentoring 5 times per week, and also, believe it or not, one-on-one mentoring until you get hired after graduation, however long it takes. Now, the next program is the Devoted Developer, which right now, when discounted, costs $9,000, and it also includes 6 months of coaching, a 3-month capstone project, a job guarantee, but instead of daily, it includes weekly one-on-one mentoring. And finally, there's the Confident Coder, which costs $6,000. It includes 3 months of coaching, and it's great for mastering modern web development with weekly one-on-one mentoring. Now, we are increasing the tuition so we can keep improving the masterclass for our students. So I want to give our students everything we can so they succeed. And senior mentor help, creating resources, research, all that comes at a price. However, I do understand that this isn't a small amount of money. This is why we offer 6-month payment plans, and as of this cohort, 12-month payment plans as well. So you don't have to pay the full fee up front. It's going to be divided in 6 or 12 payments. So if you manage to join this cohort, you'll be able to secure the price on the screen. Admissions end on June 13th, which is in 7 days. And after 3 weeks of pre-learning, the new cohort of students will start on July 3rd. Another cohort then won't start for yet another 3 months. Besides that, we're only allowing 40 students to join, and 10 spots are already taken. To make this decision easier for you, if you join now, you're going to also get a couple of bonuses. You're going to get all JSM Pro courses and materials, all future JSM Pro courses, access to a driven community of like-minded developers, a business masterclass to sell yourself, your agency, or freelance services, exclusive career materials, and 14 special roadmaps, guides, and cheat sheets. And not only that, I guarantee results. All students will receive a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you change your mind in the first 14 days of joining, you'll receive a full refund, 0 questions asked. Then, the job guarantee. Students of the exceptional engineer and the devoted developer are guaranteed to get a job within 6 months of program completion, or we will refund them in full. That is how confident we are this program will help you. There are conditions to this guarantee, and they're simple. You need to do the work on projects, show up on meetings, and apply to jobs. That's it. So to apply to the masterclass, go to jsmastery.pro/masterclass, click apply now and take the quiz. If you are eligible, you will be redirected to a page. On that page, you can book a call to continue your application process. And if you're still unsure of what the masterclass is, let me read a message from Billy, a student from our previous cohort. Somebody asked, "Hey, what is the masterclass like? And how can I learn from it better?" And Billy said, "Best experience would be the endless challenge you will face building the project and the obstacles you go through as a team to finishing the project. It really forces you to use or build your communication skills, have different approach in seeing things, finding the best solution on your own, and realistically identify the flaws you have within yourself." And then if we skip ahead a bit, it says that this would give you the best bet into getting real-life work experience without your boss firing you or giving you debt pressure for your lack of understanding. It gives you the challenges and obstacles you would face at work. This is phenomenal. But I do want to say that the masterclass is not for everyone. It's not for beginners, it's for intermediates, junior and mid developers, and bootcamp graduates. We won't allow beginners since they know too little to get the most out of the program. And we're going to also kick out everyone who doesn't do the work or brings their team down. So if you are an intermediate developer and you want to skyrocket your development and soft skills, career, and income, then the masterclass is a perfect fit for you and you should apply. And that about wraps it up. I'll stick for a while longer to answer your questions. So let me know in the chat what questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. Yeah, here we are. You were able to see it. We were right now just having this great pre-recorded piece of content for you, and now I'm here to answer all of your questions. Really happy to be able to do that live. So yeah, this is phenomenal. Now, as I said, we had the introduction, then we had this full, You can call it even a masterclass in career development. And now we're going to have live questions and answers. So let me pull a pop-out chat right here where I'll be able to see all of your questions right here, and then we can answer them one by one. There we go. If I close this and just open up this, we should be able to somehow put it one thing by another side by side, and then we can see it all right here. Give me just one moment to set that up. You know how it goes. There we go. I think this is going to be good. That way we can see the chat and we can also see the masterclass on the left side. This is wonderful. So let's take a look at the questions and let's see if I can provide you with any answers. So I'll try to go from here. First of all, I want to ask you, hey guys, what did you think of the webinar itself? What did you think of the advice that was given regarding the job search and everything else that we talked about the shadow market, about the competition, about how to do, how to do interviews, how to do resumes, and how to do cover letters as well? What did you think of all the information that was provided there? I'll have to wait a bit because the feedback is coming, a bit slower, but I'm here and I'll be able to answer the majority of your questions. Great. So I can see some people saying that it was great. I can see great, good nuggets. Wonderful. Awesome. Great webinar. Fantastic. Really, really happy to hear that. Again, the primary goal of all of this was for me to provide just as much value as possible. We took everything that we put into the masterclass regarding this career development part, and some of it's not even there yet. We just prepared it specifically for this webinar, and I just wanted to give it all to you. So yeah, it contained a lot of value. It maybe wasn't so easy to follow, but you will be able to watch it for the next couple of days, which is when we're going to take it off YouTube. And if you've been watching carefully, you're going to notice that we said, don't procrastinate. And that's why it's going to be there, I think, only for a couple of days. And after that, we're going to take it off because you need to be able to follow along and go through it in the next couple of days. Take the advice, implement the feedback, and that's it. So yeah, as I said, the primary goal of this webinar was just to provide you with as much value as possible. Now, for a few people here that really appreciated that value and are ready to take it forward, I am here to answer any questions regarding the masterclass as well. If you're not interested in that, that's entirely fine. I loved having you here, and I will love forever having you on YouTube videos. But now I want to just answer a couple of questions regarding the masterclass. So if there's any questions you have at this point, anybody, feel free to go ahead and ask regarding the kind of the level of knowledge you need to have to be able to join, regarding maybe the stack we'll be working with. I am an open book here, and I'll answer any questions you might have. Great. I can see the questions coming in. So first of all, somebody says, I'm doing my bachelor's degree in CS. Is there a pricing plan available where we can pay the fee for the masterclass from the job we land after we graduate? Unfortunately, we don't offer that ability at the moment because that would be kind of like a loan. We do have expenses of operating the masterclass and having the best resources, having all the mentors in there. So that because of that, we do have to take in payments upfront, but we do offer that job guarantee that we discussed. Now, is there any kind of more reasonable pricing plan, like in $500 increments? Of course. You can, if you're interested in that, you can watch the JS Mastery Pro courses or free YouTube videos. This is going to be for people that want to fast track their career. Yep, so for countries like Nigeria, it is it is going to be a lot, especially in your currency. I fully understand that. And, that's why I'm here. That's why we're going to do YouTube videos forever, constantly. And you can also watch the JSM Pro courses. You don't necessarily have to do the masterclass. So yeah, the courses we can offer the purchasing power parity on, which means that for Nigeria specifically or other countries, we are going to give you the special discounts. But with the masterclass, because it's worldwide and because we have the mentors and everybody in here providing the best resources and time, we unfortunately cannot offer purchasing power parity discounts. So I just, want you to know that. Now, how do you know when is the right time to start applying? Well, the right time, it depends. You can start applying really soon, in which case you might get not at such a good job, but in case you wait a bit, build a couple of projects and build your portfolio properly, then you can start applying for better jobs. So I would say learn React, learn Next.js, create a portfolio, create a couple of projects, and then start applying. Now I can see from Holala, we have, I live in Canada and I'm a college student or a graduate, but I haven't gotten a job yet. Is it worth it to take the course you provide? Yes, we have a lot of college graduates, be that engineers or computer science graduates or people that are currently working as developers or even bootcamp graduates. We have a lot of these people that already have the skills but need to get practical development experience, which is exactly what the masterclass is for. The stack we're teaching, it's going to be the modern JavaScript ecosystem. That means JavaScript, TypeScript, React. It's going to be Next.js, also backend, MongoDB, Express, Node.js, a lot. Everything that is in the modern JavaScript ecosystem. Let's see. I'm really weak in JavaScript. How can you help me grow? Well, watch some of the free YouTube videos on JavaScript. There's also the Complete Path to JavaScript Mastery course, and just, stick with it. Try to practice it as much as you can by watching YouTube videos and learning the base JavaScript syntax. How are the courses delivered? Well, these aren't necessarily courses. It's a 6-month bootcamp program where you're going to participate in real time and get real feedback from mentors. I'm a software engineer and I have already graduated. Am I able to enter the masterclass? Yes, of course. As I said, the masterclass is specifically for people that already have some skills and want to upskill further. Let's see. Thank you for the webinar. I took notes and screenshots. I'd like to know your take on AI taking over developer jobs. Well, Isaiah, I heard a great quote saying that AI is not going to replace developers. Developers that use AI will replace them. So just use it as a tool to make you more efficient. Okay. Can we see the course's content or outline? As I said, it's not a course. It's a 6-month program where you're going to focus on doing things, doing the coding, and then get direct feedback with mentors, having individual and team meetings while developing different projects. If you want to learn a bit more about it, we have a call on our website where you can book it and you can ask any questions you might have. Great. I can see that somebody said everything was diamond. I have all of them on screenshot. I'm really happy to hear that. Was there a giveaway of the masterclass? And if so, when are you announcing the winners? We're going to announce them really soon before the start of the new cohort. There's going to be one winner. Let's see. We have Tan moving to USA from Thailand about 7 months ago, started coding only 3 months ago, and my English is not that perfect. Can I join the masterclass? In the masterclass, we recommend people to practice English as it is the language of code and also the language of opportunities. So you can keep learning a bit more on your own, and then once you come to a level where you can comfortably speak it with others, then you can join the masterclass and we're going to help you polish it even further. Then we have, I hope you can give an assessment to qualify for your development bootcamp. You can take an assessment by going to jsmastery.pro and then /masterclass. That's going to look something like this. I'm going to put it side by side right here so you can see it. So we have the jsmastery.pro /masterclass. And then in here, you can read through it and you have a quiz that you can take to figure out if it is a good fit for you. It's listed right here. You take the quiz, you enter your email, you go through a list of questions, and then you'll be able to see if it really is a good fit for you or not. I think the next step for me is the masterclass. I need a mentor and I need to be accountable and work in a team. But as a Nigerian, the money is huge. I understand that. That's totally okay. Just keep it up, keep going with the JavaScript mastery free YouTube videos and paid courses. Let's see. What are the pricing options like in USD? Well, if you properly go over the quiz by entering your email, then go there, it's going to redirect you to another page, which is going to look something like this, where you'll be able to scroll down and you'll be able to see the payment plans right here. I know that for the majority of people, finding this sum up front is hard. So what you can do is you can simply toggle either the 6-month or even the 12-month payment plan to make it just a bit more reasonable. Great. So now let's see, what else do we have? Great advice, great content. Really happy to hear that. Are the meetings and webinars going to happen daily? So depending on the program you choose, you're going to get to have a daily individual meeting or a weekly individual meeting. But there's also going to be a lot of other meetings, like team meetings and 3 times office hours, which means essentially with all programs, there's going to be 5 weekly meetings. So essentially, yes, a daily meeting with mentors. Is there a trial period? Yes, you can get a full refund within 14 days. And if you even go through the entire program and you don't get a job, you're going to get a full refund then as well. I have been saving money for the devoted developer, but not quite there yet. How many times do you plan to do the masterclass in a year? Well, the next cohort is going to start in about 3 to 4 months. Okay. And in here, somebody's asking for screenshots. Well, I'm going to share the recording of this video really soon. You'll be able to watch it for the next day or two. So feel free to take the screenshot slowly and implement what has been said. How time will you be giving to the masterclass students, the one-on-one mentoring program? That's a great question. We have team meetings that last an hour. We have individual meetings that last 30 minutes, and they can be either daily or weekly. Let's see, where's the link? Well, you can go to the jsmastery.pro/masterclass or just click on this link right here. When will this be posted? I had to get off my laptop to get home. No worries, it will be posted soon and you should get an email saying that to watch the recording. Wonderful. I put it in for the masterclass giveaway. Hopefully I will win it. Phenomenal. Let's see. How can I be hooked up with a mentor? Full refund if you don't get a job. Okay. If I were to be hired before completing the course, what options would be available to me? The same ones, but we're going to vouch that we're going to upskill you. So you'll be able to get even a better job. Now, so any info about your MERN course as well? Yeah, well, MERN course and the Next.js course are both coming. Are you offering any incubation for the startup too? Not at this time, but we could do in the future. How much time a week is a student expected to commit to the masterclass? They're expected to commit 20 hours per week. So it is a program that definitely requires some time. There we go. So you commit about 20 hours per week. It's flexible and remote, so there's no need to quit your job. A lot of our students or members actually work either half-time, part-time, or full-time, but 20 hours per week, it's doable even if you do a full-time work. It's going to be tough, but it is something that is a transitional period in your life. So if you kind of stick with it for 6 months, and then be able to change the career and get much more money, that's going to be great. Let's see. Can you say process about your placement assistance that you offer in the masterclass? You mean placement into the masterclass or placement into the job market, travel motive? I can then answer you more specifically. Let's see. I recently graduated from the local bootcamp in the Philippines. Your videos are good. Thank you so much. Murshid, again, mentioning the prices. Proper programs are going to have higher prices. And we really do put a lot of effort and pride into this. And if you compare it to the US based bootcamps as well, you're going to notice that the value here is much higher and the price is still lower than what you would pay for maybe another bootcamp. Great. Let's see. Hopefully you can test us to get a scholarship on your masterclass. Okay, that's an interesting point. Is it possible to share the presentation document as well? At this point, we're just going to share a recording really soon. Hope this bootcamp isn't ending anytime soon, so we who don't have the money now can save up for future bootcamps. Yes, we're planning to launch a new cohort essentially every quarter of the year. So the next one is coming in about 3 months or 4 months from now. Yeah, interesting. Let's see, what do we have? Job market specifically. This is a great question, a travel motive. So with the masterclass, we're going to teach you how to position yourself, and we're going to teach you how to essentially become better in your career through a series of lectures called career development. And one of those things were exactly what you were watching today in this webinar, essentially showing you what is possible. And those lectures are going to get really, really detailed. I can show you just a preview of what's going to be offered there. So give me just 1 second to put it on my screen right here regarding the job placement. So as I said, we're going to have career development resources. If they are going to load right here, hopefully they do. Let's see. Yeah, I think I have them here as well. So if I just pull this here, you can see that we're going to go through a lot of stuff to help you get a job. Every single week, alongside everything else we've been doing, we're going to also have a lecture on how to be better in your career. Everything from technical communication to GitHub optimization, to discovering your dream companies, organic networking, world-class interviewing, applications, negotiations, finding your dream job, resume and cover letter, and so much more. We're going to cover all of that within the masterclass and help you position yourself as the expert in the industry to be able to get a job. Let's see. Is the job guarantee offered in the masterclass for any developer role that a student gets post-graduation or roles that amount to a certain number in total compensation? We're being really fair here. If you're happy with the job you got, that's okay. If you're not, you can keep searching, or if you're not happy, in that case, you would get a refund too. Great. Is there any test that we have to pass to get into the masterclass? Well, on the website, you will be able to find a quick survey you need to go through. The link is going to be right here. You can click apply, and then you'll go through a series of questions letting us know whether you're allowed to join in or not. Can you say what are the prerequisites for joining the masterclass? That is a great question. The prerequisites are a solid understanding of JavaScript and a base understanding of React. So in JavaScript, knowing how to write ES6 plus code, knowing how to use asynchronous JavaScript, and in React, knowing how to use hooks, how to create maybe custom hooks, how to use functional components, how to use context or use Redux. If you have used those things, we can help you take those skills to the next level. So these are the prerequisites. Yes, even from countries like Africa or India or anywhere else, we try to get our students to get jobs in the US and or on the West as well, essentially for better pay. Did you focus on a particular stack? Yes, we're going to work with the modern JavaScript ecosystem, and I can show you the stack right here. If I bring my other browser there, you should be able to see it just now. There we go. So if I put my browser here, this is the stack that we're going to focus on right now. JavaScript, React, TypeScript, Next.js. It's going to be Redux, Tailwind, MUI, Node.js, Express.js, CSS, Git, and GitHub, as well as tools like SQL, Supabase, GraphQL, Firebase, MongoDB, essentially covering everything that is there in the modern JavaScript ecosystem. Can you give me a stat on how many have enrolled and how many ended up having their dream job? Well, from our first cohort, there is 95% of people that have gotten or that have landed their dream job. There is still just one person that we're helping with, but it's still not past that 6 month after the masterclass, so we're gonna help them soon as well too. Yeah, that's great. Regarding the thought on the AI, it's a great tool that can make your efficiency better. Yeah, so this is great. I really loved all of these questions. And if you have any more, just feel free to send me an email or just go through the survey and then we'll reach out to you if you're a good fit. Of course, with the masterclass, you're going to get a discovery call going deeper into this and explaining whether it's a great fit for you. So just go through the masterclass, go through the survey, and then book a call to figure out if this is for you. Great. So what we can see here, for affordability, are there any scholarship programs? Maybe in the future, not at the moment. Great content as usual. Can you provide us a timeline in terms of weeks or months for the next MERN course? Well, first of all, the first course that's going to come up is going to be about Next.js. And then after that, we're going to do MERN. So it could be another 2 to 3 months until we see those courses. Yeah. Do you have any courses related to blockchain development? Yep, go to courses and then build an NFT marketplace. I work in a company for free to gain experience. Should I quit? Well, it depends. Are you learning something? What do you teach in algorithm sections? A lot. We have a custom testing method where each week we go through one algorithm and you get feedback on what you do. Again, overall, these are great questions. I would love all of you to go through it. If this is something that you find interesting, if this is something that you think you can afford, go through the survey, go through the questionnaire, and then, yeah, just I'm looking forward to speaking with you in the discovery call and then potentially jumping in the masterclass. Yeah, so this is great. And yeah, we're helping students from all over the world get jobs in the US, work remotely, and yeah, live that digital nomad lifestyle. Overall, this has been phenomenal. I think we've been speaking now for more than 2 hours. So I want to thank all of you for jumping in here and then, yeah, just being a part of it. Once again, I hope you found a lot of value with the masterclass and what they provided, and with the webinar as well. I mean, that's the key point of why you are here today. The webinar on careers. We try to get you, 1.5 hours of pure value. And I cannot appreciate you enough for being here, for learning. And I know this is something different. I wanted to give you some career advice because usually you mostly get just coding skills. So once again, I want to thank you for jumping here. I want to thank you for improving yourself and, yeah, improving your career. It really is going to make a huge difference. So just keep it up. And yeah, I can see some questions regarding the job. When people work in a job and do the masterclass. Yes, a lot of people currently do either part-time or full-time work and still attend the masterclass. It is flexible and you do not need to quit your job. So once again, everybody, I can see Brenda here. I can see Milan, Meldon, Chris, Samyak, Mike, everybody in here that stayed until the end. Thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate every single one of you JS Masters. Once again, thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know via email. Go through the survey, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and